Like mending a shadow.
The objective is now
Chunky falls to Diana. Oh, but the res. But she pays for it with her life.
Alright.
And first point goes to Chicago.
Yeah, I think it's going to be kind of difficult to play the far into the Echo, but, you know, it's got the pocket, so you never know if that's going to end up making a difference or not. Interesting that both teams are running Zarya.
Yeah, they both out the gate off for the Zarya. Of course, one side with the Reaper, the other opting for the Mei.
Now to see how that turns out. It's like both teams are kind of poking each other for the moment. The Pharah is trying to take an aggressive angle, and Moira ends up finding the Echo. That's a big pick for the Pharah to be able to just kind of run free. Zarya's kind of isolated with 2 picks for Kansas City. I think that's going to be...
That is going to be the flip.
Flip coming in.
I do like that Chicago seems to be trying to bubble their Reaper in, but
Yeah, I mean, it's
I think he burned 2 bubbles too quick there a little bit. I think they got to manage their cooldowns a little bit better.
True. Oh, Jackal gets a little bit too aggressive there on the Pharah, ends up getting picked. Wasn't able to get the value that they wanted. Reaper's trying to front line. Pharah gets slapped in the back line.
ACC has Grav online first.
And we'll have to see if they end up popping it early here to try and get a staggered fight win, but it doesn't look like either team is going to be committing too hard here as the point keeps ticking up in the favor of Kansas City.
Yeah, both teams just poking.
All ults are online for both teams. First one to pop is Echo, duping the Zarya, playing super aggressive. There's the grab that we talked about. Slowing them down a little bit, but the Kitsune Rush keeps everyone alive. Pocketed in, the Reaper Blossom gets no value. Barrage is huge though. Zarya ends up falling, but with a 3k from Pharah, it looks like that's going to end up being the fight still in Kansas City's favor.
Jackal gonna make it out with his life, but this
Late pick on the Mercy. So like Chicago's gonna make the switch over to the Soldier off of the Reaper. Hopefully to pressure that.
Has that grab.
True. That should definitely facilitate the fight here, since they don't really have an ult to counter it. Nano in on the Zarya, there's the grab, but the Blizzard is gonna slow down. Oh no, the Pharah boops them out of the Mei ult. Both teams trade DPS, the res comes in, and it's good. Mercy's able to escape with their life. Just barely. There's chasing, but the split angle from the Pharah here is just proving to really be an issue for Chicago, as Kansas City is going to be able to take that first point.
Hello. Scatter.
score 0-1. Ready for battle.
Now I wonder here if maybe Chicago opts for a Mercy of their own.
I do see maybe a hog switch coming in from Chicago. Be interesting to see if they.
Oh, will it be honored? KCC has a hog too.
I think the well's a little bit too enticing here. The idea of being able to pull someone in there.
Everyone has to honor the funny.
Hey, you know what? I'm all for it. You're gonna see Kansas City switch off of the Mercy but keep the Pharah here. I'm almost thinking that might be a little bit of a mistake. You're able to get a lot of value having that pocket, but we'll have to see how it pans out.
I think they might just be scared of the hog needing cleanse, but yeah, the Pharah was definitely strong last round with the pocket. Both teams poking, each hog looking for the hook.
Oh, the big hook into the pit, and the hogs end up trading.
Now it looks like Chris with the K is gonna make contesting. They're not gonna let him flip for free.
It is even right now. Chunky Monkey is very low. Big nade from Murphy onto the Moira, ends up getting the pick. It's gonna be Chicago getting the first point. Barra trying to take an angle, gets picked immediately.
Yeah, I'm not sure the FAR is gonna work here without the Mercy.
The Reaper's in the backline getting the value that it needs to.
Especially if they are gonna run the hog, I do think the carry might be needed for the cleanse, because Furphy already showing us how annoying it could be to deal with anti when you're trying to run a hog comp.
Yeah, the anti-nades are definitely very high value when you land them on the tank, especially if they don't have any way to cleanse it. Just resources that are getting baited out by an ability that's kind of easy to hit on a hog. Looks like
Doge finding perch.
Doge is gonna find Otto. Yeah, I mean that push is pretty much dead now. You don't have the tank to make space. Looks like Kansas City is opting to take a wide angle here, and Chunky Monkey's on the flank pushing Furphy. But he's gonna end up getting picked.
Chris goes down, but now KCC without their Moira.
And Doge does another hook into the pit.
Alright, this looks like a hog clinic right now.
Yeah, Dogemeister's putting on quite the hog clinic. Oh, the hook breaks on the Doge. He's still camping near the pit. I wonder if they're going to be able to get in here. They're going to have to touch. Reaper goes in for the Blossom. Doesn't really get much value out of it. Both Kitsune rushes are in. Visor from Cage. Providing a lot of pressure, but Otto hooks Doge into the pit.
And it looks
Two
like...
picks for Kansas City. It looks like they're finally going to be able to flip here.
Both teams investing a lot of ults there, too.
Yeah, both teams spent 4 ults, and it looked like, you know, I gotta say that hook from Otto on the Dogemeister, putting him in the hole, was definitely the big difference maker there. Without that big target to really soak up the damage. I think this point is definitely hard to push into if you're on attack, and, you know, both teams run the hog here, because
yeah,
on defense...
You're waiting for that hog cooldown, or that hook cooldown. Ooh, throwing the
Blizzard a little early, does freeze the hog. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to convert off of it though. Big ball splits the team, but the hog ult is going to be able to force Chicago into a corner, and that's auto picked. And the May off the map too. That's 2 picks for Kansas City. It's like a little bit of
no ults to
4v3 support's alive, but that's all you got right now. It's 4v2 on the point. They got to be sure not to give up the point flip. Deathman goes down. Otto comes back on the Diva for the fast recontest here, but it looks like just the numbers advantage is going to be too much for Kansas City to overcome, and that's going to be point for Chicago. 1-1. And you know, it kind of felt similar to the first one, just, you know, went the other way, right? Made some swaps.
Yeah. I think, honestly, I think the value from that Ana there was kind of unparalleled, because it kind of seemed like it made KCC more hesitant, and then Doge was just finding hooks on cooldown.
I mean, into the hog mirror. Into the hog mirror, that's the big one, right? Because, I mean, with that anti-nade, you're able to pretty much make the hog unable to get all the resources that he needs for 3.5 seconds on cooldown. And if you don't have that as your team, you can just win the duels based on that alone. Looks like Kansas City is going back to the Zarya that worked with them the first round, while Chicago is sticking on the Roadhog.
Scry some more. I draw the chariot. Whatever you're after, get it.
Both teams look like they're opting to go straight to point here. Chris with the K finds a huge pick onto the Echo early. Has that high ground control. Looks like Chicago's being able to set up a little bit of a flank here with the Reaper. Block gets forced early from the Mei, but the Reaper's behind them, able to find another pick onto the Piri. Looks like that fight's going to be flipping in Chicago's favor.
The amount of value they're getting out of the Reaper here, he is pretty much uncontested. He kind of been doing
I was
whatever
going to say
he wants.
that. He's just kind of coming in. You know, you always see the Reaper guy copy pasta, whatever, but it's actually pretty accurate. He comes in from the side, he can kill a squishy in 1 to 2 shots, and if you aren't paying attention for it, it'll get you. Hog is playing on the high ground here. Reaper goes in for the soldiers, not able to pressure him out, forces Wraith. Still going to play that high ground pressure, but it looks like Kansas City is opting in for that. You know, DPS trades out from both teams. Doge lands a big hook off the map onto Nikki. Sorry, he's at full charge, but you know, you're down. It's a 3v4 again. It's another hook.
Doge is
Just putting on a clinic right now.
Now Chris potentially setting up for the funny with Blossom from the top rope.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like every time Chicago is just setting up for like a, you know, call it like a kill box or whatever. But you know, you got the Reaper on the flank, you got the soldier on the wide angle, you got the core pressuring from point. It's hard to get in. That's a big pick onto the soldier though. That's a lot of that pressure gone. But here comes the Blossom from Chris with the K, and he ends up finding the Hanzo. Grab committed from Kansas City, but looks like the teams are pretty even at the moment. But the Hog Vault ends up finding 2. Late pick, and all that's left to contest is the Moira, and she ends up getting picked.
We are outnumbered. Take heed.
And I don't think anyone from Kansas City is going to be able to touch.
Soldier, but he might find himself.
Sure, but he finds himself taking a long way down into the pit, and that's going to be map 1 for Chicago. Just feels like, you know, Chicago is able to adapt to whatever Kansas City was throwing at them. Map 1 looked a little bit uncomfortable, but you know, once they made the swap over to the Hog and they started playing those angles, pretty convincing win.
Yeah, Doge is just, honestly, he put on a clinic on this Hog. And
Absolutely.
It kind of makes me wonder though why KCC didn't opt back for that Pharah, just because the Pharah seemed like she was able to poke out the Reaper when he was in like the high ground and flanking, but
yeah,
I don't think their hit scan really touched the Pharah when they had a Mercy. So
I was actually just about to mention that. It felt like Kansas City was playing a lot more comfortable when they were on that Pharah Mercy. But you know, Pharah Mercy sometimes is, you know, a map dependent pick, so maybe they just felt more comfortable on Ruins and not so much on the other map. We'll have to see if they bring it out at Nimbani, because I know that you can play it on first point.
I guess I'll also be interested if Doge opts for the Roadhog here too. It isn't the funny, but
Yeah, I mean, I think the Hog is in a much better spot now that he's been reworked. You know, the trap definitely adds a lot of pressure if you hook them onto it. It helps you secure that kill a little bit more often than you used to be able to. But on a high ground map like this, it could be a little bit rough. We'll have to see if Chicago ends up opting for it or not, but it does look like it's going to be Kansas City attacking first.
Ready for battle.
With something a little bit different than you would normally imagine in a dive.
Used to be, but I'm still the fastest gun in the
let's say
New
the
West.
Bastion, interesting pick. I personally have never been a fan of Moira, but
Keep you safe.
You know, you can make it work.
yeah, you definitely can. And as long as she uses her Fade smart, it is good to have a support that could keep themselves alive. But
Meanwhile,
yeah,
on the
I don't
other
know. This
side,
is gonna be interesting.
on the other
Interesting
side, you're looking at you know, something a little bit more traditional poke. Something I think you'd see a little bit more often on a map like this. But no Baptiste. Opting for a Kiriko and Ana instead. Have to see how that works out. Otto tries to jump on the high ground early, gets picked. Deathman stuck in as the Mercy. Jackal jumps down to try and chase the kill, but he does give up that high ground. And we're going to see a switch over to D.Va immediately. Kansas City trying to get that angle. Looks like they're trying to push down main here. I like how Chicago stood up here with the split high ground hold. Adds a lot of pressure when you're trying to get in, especially if you're trying to walk in through main. Looks like the fight's going to be happening on point. The Bastion uses form and ends up forcing out all the Sig resources. Chris the K is able to find a pick onto Deathman, but Chunky Monkey and Otto find two in return. Ana falls low, and that's going to be a pick, and it looks like that's going to be the fight flipping in Kansas City's favor.
It was definitely organized chaos, but it seemed to work for Kansas City there.
Again, we mentioned it a little bit, but it's the Pharah again, right? It felt like once they switched over to that Pharah comp, they were a little bit more comfortable. And we'll have to see if Chicago has an answer.
Pulling out the Zarya, maybe trying to put some frontline pressure on that D.Va.
Yeah, you obviously can't eat the damage from it. But as we say that, the D.Va is able to find a pick on the Chris with the K on Cassidy. I was trying to put that frontline pressure in, but Otto's taking an angle on the Ana, who gets a little bit isolated. Those Meister able to peel the bubble. D.Va gets demeched. Bastion pops wheels, hopefully to pressure out that Zarya a little bit. But here we go, Chunky Monkey taking the angles again, ends up getting picked, but he finds the Kiri. Oh, the Mac back online. It's a 4v4 on point right now, but have to imagine that Kansas City's gonna get back with their spawn door being so close.
Both teams with a lot of ults here online. I think whichever team will go first here will win the fight.
Yeah, that early initiative with the ults. And as we say that, we see the Coalescence come out from Kansas City. Ara taking a wide angle here, waiting for the Mercy pocket. Finds a soldier isolated. Bubble comes in for Doge, good peel.
Oh, huge high noon from Chris.
Yeah, that'll be the entire fight. You know, the thing is with Fire Mercy, you're usually in the air, and if Cass decides to ult you, you're just not usually a lot of ways out. Got the value they need to. Chicago's still sitting on 4 ults.
Yeah, they didn't invest a lot at all.
Yeah, Kansas City invested, you know, 4 to push the cart that far, and this point can be a little bit difficult to get through. But we'll have to see how Chicago uses the ults that they built up.
Honestly, if I'm Chunky, I think with the D.Va, I just would look to trade maybe 2 for 1 and get a bunch of DM while I ult. I think that could open a fight up here huge.
That could be.
Yep.
I mean, that's a huge value far ult. Trade 2 for 1. They don't have that res. Oh, but Deathman goes in to try and get the res. Gets picked. Otto gets demeched. That Zarya still has charge. I don't know if Kansas City is going to be able to win this fight.
Yeah, I think the execution there was it started off strong, but the follow up was a little too hard. I think they just leave that Pharah for dead and then finish out the fight without feeding into that Zarya's charge there.
Yeah, I mean you already got 2, right? Chicago still holding on to those ultimates. They haven't really had a reason to use them so far.
Of course, Nano Visor potentially lethal here.
I mean, yeah, that's a huge value ult, right? Ashen is trying to pressure main, but big thing is that, you know, they're trying to take the high ground, but they don't really have a lot of cart pressure, and the Bastion's kind of being left out to dry.
They don't have a lot of cart pressure, and Otto keeps going up there with just the Mercy to healer, but Doge is just so high charged that it doesn't even make a difference. He's just farming.
Yeah, I mean, that Zarya swap paying dividends. Pressuring out that D.Va. Monkey able to find one on Shiro, but he gets traded out. There's the nano boost invested onto the soldier. There's that nano visor we talked about, and it ends up giving out the grab. The grab gets eaten by Otto. Beard Jekyll still able to find one. Dojemeister finds another, but the coalescence committed by Kansas City, and it looks like that's going to be able to flip the fight here. 33 seconds left, and I do think that Chicago might be able to get a recontest, but it'll have to come quick.
Oh,
Big pick on the Shiro, and that's not gonna happen. You know, big fight win from Kansas City there at the end. It finds 2 again, finds 3 and the mech.
of course, KCC able to cap, so...
It's late, but it definitely lets Chicago stabilize a bit so they can play this corner strong.
I wonder if we're gonna see a swap, maybe off the D.Va after the ult. I don't know. For all it's worth, I feel like Otto's been taking some heavy punishment here from the Zarya.
Yeah, Shiro switches over to the Alari, maybe to pressure the flyer a little bit more, but the pylon could give a lot of pressure in the back line. Chunky Monkey on the flank chasing down the Ana isn't able to convert to kill. Oh no, he does! Visor committed from Kansas City. Chunky Monkey able to find 2. I'm out. Copy committed onto the Alari. They're gonna keep playing this pressure here, and I like how Kansas City is playing this fight. They're getting picks late. Really making sure they don't ever... Oh, Bearded Jackal's able to find a pick out of the Moira. It looks like you're playing last fight territory. Otto has the self-destruct here. That could be enough to clear off the point. Early pick under Chris with a K. It's now a 5v4 in favor of Kansas City. Now it's a 3v. Shire's able to find one, but no cigar is... Kansas City's able to finish the map with 9 seconds. That's huge.
With time.
With time,
ladies and gentlemen.
You know, that was very impressive. Being able to, you know, flip around that second point that really didn't seem like it was going too well into, you know, a time bank. Lets you have a little bit of contest. Both teams finish.
Yeah, they did seem kind of gridlocked there on second point. Able to find some traction. I really think some of the aggression, or at least positive traction, comes from Chunky Monkey when he's able to find these early picks, and they don't overcommit. They push the advantage, but when they had that Zarya pushing into the D.Va, it seemed like they were going a little too fast, just off of his picks. But when he's able to get a pick early and they're able to play off it at their tempo, I think that's where they find the most value.
I was going to mention that. It felt like a lot of the fights that Kansas City was able to win was because Chunky Monkey was taking this really, really aggressive flank and finding a pick. And then, you know, they would turn to deal with him, and then the rest of the team would, you know, kind of come in from main, and
If you go jogging with me.
it would be a pinch. And then Kansas City ended up winning the numbers game. But, you know, very different look from them on defense. You see a BAP and a Rissa. And try and hold off those high grounds again. Chunky switches over to the Hanzo, no longer on that flyer. See how it works out. Meanwhile, Chicago's running a very similar comp to what they were running at the end of that last map. Try and drew Ana Kiri Zarya. Looks like they're going to try and take high ground here, pushing into the horse up to see how it works out. Walls committed doesn't really find any value, but the lamp comes out from Deathman. Echo on the angle here is able to find the Baptiste. And that's a pickup. Chicago is able to find 3 early, and I think that's just going to be the flip. I don't think he can get another contest here. Chunky Monkey gets down on 1 HP. Echo, very deep, is able to find Chunky Monkey with the stickies. He'll get bad spawn.
That magnetic grenade was crazy. Just the fact it went that far. Just the fact it went that far.
Otto kind of stuck out on the open here. I don't think he has any bubbles. I charge, but you know they gotta try and control the space. Chunky Monkey switches over to the Bastion. Now playing card, Beard Jackal on the Echo trying to take an angle. Because the K is able to finish up the damage that they dealt. That's a numbers advantage. Otto able to find one. Bastion Wheels committed. Doge gets very low, is able to be kept up by the Ana nade. Beard Jackal's able to find Chunky Monkey with the stickies. Chicago still has the numbers advantage here.
See, they have the numbers advantage, but they're kind of just slow rolling right now. Otto desperately trying to hold on to the corner.
Otto pops the grab on the Dogemeister, but he isn't able to find the kill until we're at the end. Big nade from Chunky Monkey is able to lower them down to the point. There's a K, pops High Noon, is able to find Kimani.
Big nade, but...
Big nade, but no follow-up. And that'll beat the fight, flipping Kansas City's favor. And again, I think that now we're...
The Reaper.
I think the Reaper's actually probably a pretty good look into the Bastion if you're trying to get him low. Bastion's such a huge target. Pretty easy to check. Beard Jackal switches off of the Echo onto the Ash. Monkey pops a Bastion ult early. Isn't able to find anything. Goes like, hey, on this high ground angle. Trying to pressure, but the soldier had a lock on him. Wheels committed from Chunky Monkey early. Slow down the push. Kitsune rush in from Chicago. Grab committed, that grabs 2. And it looks like that's gonna... Oop.
Oh, it looks like we got a DC.
Looks like we got a DC. Game crash. I mean, that was a really clean fight from Chicago at the end there. I liked how they went in, they baited out the wheels from Chunky Monkey on Bastion, and then they committed hard with the Curie ult. And
yeah,
then
they baited out the wheels, they were able to get lamp early, and I think both bubbles from the Tsar.
Yeah, and then they popped that grab at the end there to really secure the kills. I think there's only 1 left from Kansas City right now.
Yeah, Kimani, I think fighting for their life.
It looks like they have visor popped. So
they did. They found 2. They found 2.
He's able to flip the point. Oh, pauses. Coming offline. Note's back. The card isn't moving.
The visor is able to zone them off cart without the Zarya there to hold the space. So now I guess it's just
waiting
a matter
for team.
of...
I mean, I feel like you could have kept pushing it, right? It was a 1v1. You gotta take that.
Yeah, they have a touch here maybe if they want it.
Soldier gets picked early. Lamp is committed. You have the window from Kansas City, but the BAP is kind of stuck on cart.
Yeah, the BAP is in a very awkward position right now.
The window's in a very awkward... Huge Blossom from Chris with a K. It's converting 3. That'll be the flip from Chicago.
Yeah, I think Deathman does have to watch his positioning here. Because not even just in that fight, but he's been caught out a couple times early.
Yeah, I think that the Reaper is the big thing here. It's going to put a lot of pressure on being caught out of position, especially with the way that, you know, Chris has been playing it. Those
Look at him
flank
crouching.
angles.
He's on the flank.
He's on the flank. He has the VAP in his sight. And just
again.
when say that, he gets the VAP and he gets out. And that's no supports from Kansas City. They gotta back up here. Talking about last fight territory. Although still trying to poke on Carnage, able to get around the corner. Gonna have to see a touch here. Mayblock committed. Should stall for some time. Huge sleep on a Chunky Monkey in the back line. Are they able to convert the kill? Doesn't look like it. But Chris with the K is going crazy on Cart. The Bob is committed, the Nano is committed, and that's gonna be the entire map done. 3 minutes and 50 seconds in the time bank total for Chicago.
Yeah. This is definitely an uphill battle if you're KCC right now.
Yeah, but you know, if you're KCC, you still got the time, right?
You do have time, that's true.
I've seen overtime pushes. They notorious for going way farther than they should. But you gotta get that first point. You gotta get that first point done. It's an uphill battle. This first point honestly kind of sucks. Not a huge fan.
Curious to see what we'll see coming out here. We've seen a lot of different looks from Chris, and it looks like he's gonna start on the Reaper.
I don't blame him. He's getting a ton of value out of it.
He does. They don't really have an answer for it. It seemed like the Pharah was their answer for it, but they're not opting for it here.
Changed for the better.
Yeah.
Chunky is on the Echo though. Oh,
Something a little bit different from Kansas City. You'll have to see if they stay on it.
a teleporter. Okay. I could potentially like where this goes.
I like where this is going, actually. You know, you can take the closer high ground that the soldier's on currently. And quick pressure. Zen Moira backline for Kansas City. Not a ton of healing, but it's a lot of pressure damage-wise. There's the TP up onto the high ground. Everyone takes it. We're running onto the soldier. They're able to find the pick early, but the Zen gets picked. Oh, but you trade 2 for it. You trade 3. Auto punching people on point. Nemesis form is down, but I feel like if you're Kansas City here, you just gotta kind of do a quick reset.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how I feel about the Zen there.
Yeah, they're back on the Zen now. Switch off of the Ram, off of the Sim. I think they're gonna have to go down main or under to get the touch here. Chicago's in the perfect position for this. The second that they walk out, the Reaper's gonna drop on them.
Oh, but
Chris with the K gets picked early. Whoa! Otto able to find a pick on the Jackal. Doge with charge, pressuring the point. Both supports alive from Chicago, but Doge gets picked. Too much pressure. And that's going to be the point. Getting capped for Kansas City.
Shiro back here. Okay, I was going to say, I thought he was going to stagger himself more than he did. Oh, but the soldier, the last second touch.
Those are a touch, but again, this is where we start seeing that overtime push, right? Overtime spawns start kicking in. It's a bit longer. So every fight matters more on if you're the attacking side here. Otto's going to have all Chunky Monkeys coming up on his.
That looks like it. No other huge percentages on either side. Shiro getting close-ish
For the Kitsune rush. Have to see how Kansas City wants to try and play this point here. Looks like everybody's stacked on the cart.
Yeah, they really just gotta watch Chris with the K. He's always lurking it. Just waiting.
Correct. Oh, Defense gets picked, but Chunky Monkey trades up for Bearded Jackal. That's a lot of damage. Pressure gone. That Moira's gonna have to pull her weight here. Try and keep that team up. Otto gets picked. Bomb committed. Kitsune Rush comes out, but Kamani's able to find Chris with K. Grab committed. Only gets the soldier. Chunky Monkey ult finds the Kiri. 2v1 on cart. On the soldier on the high ground, but Kansas City's going to keep this push going. Gotta keep one on the bot. Oh my, this is a really good push from Kansas City now. Turning 1 minute into a miracle.
Good to see. Otto has to be careful not to get demeched up there.
Yeah, they get out. Gets the support some ult charge. That they still have that coalescence, the retouch here, and that's 2 points capped. Curse of the K, Blossom online, as well as Visor and Nano for Chicago.
Of course, defense matrix able to eat a lot of that. We'll see. Hopefully they use it.
Curse of the K coming from behind. There's the Blossom committed. It ends up finding 3 along with the Visor, and that's gonna be where that push ends.
How's it going?
Still though, for a minute, like you said, we
I-
did see one of those
that
overtime pushes.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that, you know, the writing's on the wall for Chicago now. You gotta make do with the time you got. 3 minutes and 50 seconds is a long time, but
Certainly, nothing to scoff at. But now if you're KCC, I think you have to be asking yourself, what are they going to do to keep these Reaper flanks and these DPS from finding these off-angle picks? It seems like someone always gets caught out by Chris with a K, or even Jackal has been pretty good at finding specifically the BAP, Deathman, unawares.
yeah, I think it all, like you said before, I think it all comes down to positioning, right? They just need to be more aware when that flank is happening, because they have the resources to deal with it. Sports are going to have to just play stacked here and make sure that they're keeping each other alive.
5, 4, 3, 2,
Chunky Monkey
Kansas
pulling
City
out the
positioning,
ash.
incoming.
far back,
End objective.
stacking
On with it.
on that
Yeah,
high
sort of-
ground.
Sort of playing this this treehouse bunker comp.
High ground is going to be taken.
Overwatch 1, I'd expect to see an Orisa shield somewhere in there too, but
Hey, don't give me flashbacks. Battle for the high ground here. Point pressure being committed. Lamp
Lamp early.
early, but Chunky Monkey is able to find a pick up to the Yana. That's a huge one. Bastion wheels committed. Doge Meister doesn't have any bubbles, but he has a lot of charge to compensate. With the ball on the point with the Ana being dead, the Echo is on the flank, taking the high ground. And that'll be the flip for Chicago. Like, Kansas City ends up getting that early pick, but I think that Chicago forcing the fight on point ended up going in their favor. Their comp is a lot more brawly. And we'll see some switches here.
oh, we're mirroring the Reaper now. I was wondering if they would do that.
Hey, it doesn't feel like a bad idea on paper. You know,
No, I
feels
kinda
a lot of
like
these- A lot of these fights are happening up close and personal, so we will have to see if that ends up making a difference in the long run. 2 minutes and 20 seconds to cap all of second, a little bit of third. Bastion taking pressure with the wheels doesn't really find much value. Spark keeps moving. Reaper on the flank. It's hit with stickies. Bastion wheels committed. Echo taking the high ground. Bastion gets slept, hit with a nade.
A
It's
lot of space
cleansed.
coming. Their KCC giving up a lot of space here. Now ults are committed.
Yeah, Chicago popping that carry ult early, trying to get the fight won. Chunky Monkey in the backline still shooting the Zarya. It's 80% to an ult, but I don't think it's going to come up online. Grab committed to hits 3. Doge Meister in the backline, alone. Ends up getting picked because he didn't have any follow-up. Dupe Mercy comes in, goes for the res, doesn't quite get it. Chunky Monkey commits the ult, finds the supports, and that's going to be the fight going down. Kansas City's favor with 1 minute and 15 seconds left on the clock.
Oh, does Jackal get out here?
I don't. Oh, big bubble from Doge. Oh, but Curse of the K rounds the corner, gets a little bit too aggressive.
Yeah,
Hey,
I do like seeing Chunky Monkey mirroring the Reaper here.
Yeah, it definitely feels to be making a huge difference. They're able to play way more aggressive here.
Oh, but he falls himself. Sharo with the cheeky headshot. But able to get the res?
They switch over to the May, get a wall off, end up finding the Mercy. Grab committed, grabs 2. Chunky Monkey playing this angle here, isn't able to find anyone.
He's Maywall.
In the front line by himself, not able to find it. Install odds, Chicago able to get rid of that front hold, but now we're gonna see 17 seconds left. Overtime ticking around, and really only the Kitsune rush up from Chicago. We'll have to
They
coming
should
into the last
get
fight.
a fight here.
Oh, absolutely. You're gonna get the point cap, but you know, you gotta consider, you know, you gotta play as a team. Chunky Monkey finds Bearded Jackal early, that's huge. Kansas City here, you gotta play aggressive. The spawn is so close to the point. Come on, he ends up finding 2, 3-5. Chunky in the back line, gets picked.
They gotta use Kitsune.
Cleanse. Kitsune committed. Blizzard committed. That's a huge Blizzard. It catches 3. Grab committed. Out of the last man standing. Not going to be able to hold it. Chicago. By the skin of their teeth. End up getting map 2.
That was down to the wire. That was definitely a good map too.
Oh, absolutely. You know, it felt like both teams were trying to make switches to get around what the other team was throwing at them. And at the end there, you know, that late switch out of the May ends up finding a lot of value with the wall out of spawn, gets 2 picks. Things considered though, both teams kind of throwing haymakers at each other, going into flashpoint. I don't know what to think about it.
I'm gonna say I do think KCC had a lot of good looks that round though too as well, and I kind of almost hope that if Chris with the K does go Reaper for what map do we have next?
I believe it is New Junk City.
I was gonna say if we see that Reaper, I kind of almost hope that Chunky does mirror the Reaper because it seems it's kind of watching them back and forth. It's kind of almost like watching tracers mark each other. Because before, when Chris was on that Reaper, neither of Kansas City's DPS could really contest him. He sort of comes from off angles. He gets what he wants and then he walks out. But I feel like with the Reaper to mirror, you could kind of face check things a lot more. You have the fade yourself, of course. If your supports need to help you, then they can. And they don't get hung out to dry for it as much if you sort of just mark the Reaper. Because once he mirrored the Reaper, it seemed like Chris transitioned more of to just like brawling frontline with the tank instead of going on the off angles.
You know, what's interesting about that last map too is that both teams were really opting for that Echo pick. And I don't really think that the Echo is going to work that well on New Junk City. So, I mean, I feel like this map is definitely, you know, enables the brawl comps a lot more. So that Zarya Reaper that we were just talking about, it's going to be even better here. They're not going to have a lot of routes to get away from that Reaper if he does end up taking a flank. So it'll be interesting to see how teams approach that.
Oh, okay, they're waiting on one. I was about to flame Lank and blame him, but I guess he's safe.
I mean, there's always a reason to flame Lank. You can think of something. I believe in you.
Nah, well, it's the weekend. We'll give him his day off.
Fair enough.
Traveling to New Junk City. Initiating match.
Jack to stop chasing me.
I have.
Dogemeister flashing us the Rhine pick.
Isn't that just
I like it.
like
I was gonna say, I'm always excited to see Rhine enter the battlefield.
We were just talking about this, right? We were just talking about how this map is a little bit more brawly. What's more brawly than Rhine, right?
This is true. And of course, KCC, I'm not sure if it's a premonition or not, but opting for the Bastion Sim, both potential banes to Ryan's existence.
True. I think that Chicago's main goal now is going to have to be to try and out-rotate Kansas City. They got to try and get the Bastion cooldown out and then take a fight fast so the Sim doesn't get beam. Tricky, but I think they can do it.
They're opting for some strange pathing here. Oh, maybe not.
Yeah, I mean, both teams are going to be kind of up close and personal with the brawl here. Chris with the K shooting at the Bastion. Bastion wheels committed. Dogemeister falls really low. A little bit swift from the team. Big nade knocks Chris with the K into the Zarya. The Zarya is able to find the pressure. Doge left out to dry, and it looks like that's going to be first fight for Kansas City.
Chris immediately swapping to the junk.
Doge to the Zarya. Big thing here is the ult charge advantage. And Chunky Monkey's gonna have Bastion ult after this next fight. Could get it during, depending on how slow they come in. Chicago trying to push in through main. Otto able to find an early pick onto Chris with the K, but Beard Jackal trades out the Moira. Deathman goes for the res, gets picked, but ends up getting it off. The Sim turrets find huge value, stopping the Zarya from walking on the team, and it looks like Kansas City's going to be able to hold.
Otto pushed up.
Moira gets picked. Bastion ult committed.
I don't think no one gets a touch here.
Yeah, no touch. A few late picks, but point one going to be going to Kansas City. Looks like point two is going to be the junkyard, just based on where the teams are heading right now.
My ultimate is charging.
And Kamani trying to set up early. It's a 3v2 on point at the moment. Moira a little bit split, but both teams are approaching.
Both teams with ults to use here.
Chicago's got 5. They got to invest something here. Big nade onto Shiro. That's a good pick early. You still hold this if you're Chicago, but you got to invest early. Oh no, Otto gets another pick on that Chris with the K, and that's going to be that fight 1. Kansas City again.
Ooh, I think the coalescence might be a little overkill, but
Sometimes it's just about sending a message. I'm not gonna say you can't pop that ult late, but you know, maybe they'll be wishing they had that in a little bit. Beard Jackal switches over to the Bastion off of the Sojourn. 4 ults online for Chicago. Crab online for Kansas City. It's gonna be hard to hold into what Chicago has, but if you play fast with the grab here, that could be another fight win. Grab committed, grabs 3. Huge Bastion wheels end up killing the Zarya. It's 2 for Chunky Monkey. Rest committed, and it's 5 online. Player behind ends up getting both supports.
oh no!
Committed, ends up saving himself with it. Maybe not the value he was looking for, but it's value nonetheless. Otto gets slept in main, ends up getting picked, but there's 90%.
The support's looking to...
Support's looking to touch. They nano the Kiri. Kiri ends up touching with ult.
Oh.
No, but the overtime still online. Sim pops the wall. Deathman goes in for the res, is able to block his own death using the Sim wall. Sim back online. It's a 2v2 on point here. Zarya ends up going down. So Bastion versus a Moira and a Sim.
Ani is high.
Bastion goes down. Chris with the K, last man standing. Kansas City ends up holding on. In
That was actually a
Chicago.
crazy turn of events. I thought Chicago was actually going to pull that off.
Hey, look at I was rooting for it too, but it was the late sim wall from Kamani that ends up saving Deathman when he goes in for the res, and that ends up making all the difference. You know, 0.3 online. Looks like it's going to end up being Refinery. This point definitely a little bit more indoorsy. Like Kansas City up 2 points right now. Chicago's got to find an answer quick, and they don't really have the ults to do it. They got the grav. It's got to find some value. Otto, playing for the objective, has the Mercy Pocket. Beer Jackal goes for the Bastion ult, ends up finding the other Bastion with it. Both teams still brawling. Looks like Kansas City's gonna opt to disengage this one. Yeah, that fight goes in the favor of...
Otto could get out alive with charge. That'd be the best thing, I think, for him here.
Oh, absolutely. You come back into fight with charge, you're 86% to grav. You have Cole. You could take a good fight here. Kansas City looking to come in through main. Not looping around the side.
All coming out.
Belt coming out. Not really coming in just yet. Here we go, they're walking. Big grab. Gets two. Chris the K falling low, but the Ononade is able to keep all of them up. Extra. Not quite. Two goes down. Res comes in from Kansas City. They're going to be able to flip. That's going to cost them a little bit. Chicago coming up on 4 ults. Kitsune Russian Nano. Online for a retake.
I'm excited to see another Bastion come out here from Chunky Monkey.
Maybe he'll get to use it to hunt someone down instead of kill the flanking giant. Oh, you see Chris with a K on the flank here, looking for sneaky. High noon. Chunky Monkey spots him.
Noon, yeah.
Nade committed. Oh, here it comes. On the flank, trying to hunt down the Mercy. Doesn't end up using the high noon, but he's able to put a lot of pressure on that Moira.
Oh, big wall.
Well committed. You'll let them hold the point a bit.
Huge wall. No tanks on either side right now.
Wall goes down. Big high noon.
Oh no, not like this!
Not Cole.
I'm here, like a gentle rain.
In Chicago against all odds. You'll flip that point.
We have Doge on Winston now, which obviously the rock paper scissors tank game is the quote unquote rock Cesaria scissors, but playing into a Bastion sim on Monkey is kind of rough.
As we say that, Dogemaster able to isolate Deathman.
Yeah, they are. They're
split from the team if they want to hunt her down.
Point unlocks in 10 seconds.
Kansas City's playing a little bit split right now. That core
Yeah,
goes on to
honestly,
pull.
if I was KCC, I'd give up point here.
You gotta regroup. Scorch coming back in. Bubble on the Chunky Monkey keeps him alive. Has to sleep, but Beard Jackal on the off angle, able to pick up Kamani. Two for the Bastion here. I should. Big nade from Furphy. Jackal on the flank, Otto with charge. Taking a flank of his own. Man advantage are going to go in Kansas City's favor, and that's going to be the point flip.
It was messy, but they got it done.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like definitely after those 2 initial picks from Chicago, it was going to be a little bit rough to win that one, but they end up flipping it. Good off angle from the Zarya with charge.
I'll never get over the magnetic grenade.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Please remove it.
Auto hit with an anti-nade. Not able to convert. Looks like they're playing for main here. Both DPS from Chicago going on a little bit of a flank. Don't really have support though. Looks like Chicago's trying to look for a way in here, but it's hard with the Bastion and other value. Dogmeister commits Primal. They had a Nano on top, able to find one.
Nano and Bastional coming out too. And there's the rush.
Chicago's going all in on this point. Monkey finds one. Otto falls low on point. Last man standing is the Moira, but doesn't look like.
Honestly, though, if you're Kansas City, you like that fight.
Oh, absolutely. You got
you get 99, and you got
4 ults out.
Yeah, 4 ults.
You need 1 fight to win the whole thing, and you're gonna have
Grab
4
online with May and Bastional online. That'd be the greasiest combo.
Grab Bastional. I mean, that's a fight win by itself. Land a big one. High Noon comes out, doesn't find the value that it wants to. Zarya walking in a point. Grab committed, finds 2. Meanwhile, Bearded Jack on the back line finds 2 picks of his own. Blizzard committed, freezes the monkey, puts him on ice.
Now it's just Jackal here.
It's Jackal, but it doesn't look like there's anyone left to touch, as Kansas City is going to end up taking a map. Saying we aren't done yet.
Absolutely. KCC said, we are not going to take this 3-0. We're not going to take it lying down, and I like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a competitive series all along, right? We saw it last map with the big overtime push. It feels like Kansas City's finally trying to get their bearings together and leads to a map win on Flashpoint. Then, you know, going forward, that momentum, maybe the reverse sweep. So map 4 is Junkertown.
Yeah, I'm excited for this just because.
Not one of my favorites.
I mean I disdain the map. However, I think the first point, given its openness, we might see a different look from the teams here from these brawly comps.
Oh, absolutely. I think that on this map, like especially first point, you kind of need to be playing that longer range damage. Like the Zarya is still going to be... You can still play the Zarya. She's definitely a little bit more of a pokey character if you want to play her that way. It's just, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if you see a team try the Widow for a little bit.
No Widow, but we do see an Ashe rolling out of spawn from Chicago.
And we do see a Sigma.
Chunky Monkey
Maybe.
flashing the Widow in the attacker spawn. Or is he just looking for a couple shots from the top?
I mean, listen, if there's any map to make it work, it's either this or Circuit Royale.
That's true. They do have the Zen, which I like on this map, More so than I did when they tried it on Numbani, just because I feel like the high ground on Numbani is a little more oppressive there for Zen. But
It looks like that's what both these teams are gonna walk out on.
Stop the payload.
Chunky Monkey playing that Widowmaker. Gonna have to see if it gets any value. Trying to take an angle on that high ground. Otto pushing the cart. Looks like there's a face-to-face brawl happening. Grizzle the K finds a first pick onto the Bastion. Chunky Monkey on that high ground, trying to find the pressure. The man down from Kansas City. It's gonna be a little bit rough. The K finds another pick on the Deathman.
ooh, Chunky Monkey was able to secure the kill on the Ana.
The Zarya, now that they have charge, able to put a lot of pressure in the face. Chicago. Chunky Monkey on the off angle. Playing a
Otto just
should be, but too. I mean, like, this is the power of the Zarya comp, right? We know that it's not going to be as strong as a Sigma initially, like when you're poking. But once you get some charge, you can kind of walk on the other team, especially if they're playing something more stationary. Sigma can't eat that damage. Ends up converting. Grab online for Kansas City, first ult. They committed early here, they might not have a counter. Ult's committed from Chunky. Looking for the Ana. As the cart keeps moving. Grab committed, finds 3. Not able to convert. Sigma barrier. Too much HP to burn through. Pfizer committed on high ground. Looking for the Widow, ends up finding it. Chris on a strong off angle here. Pressuring the Zen, but there's only 2 alive from Kansas City. I think they want to get out. Not unable to.
Yeah. If you're Otto there, I think you just gotta try to get out with charge. Ooh, Chunky Monkey.
Early pick. I don't think you can push in yet, though, if you're Kansas City. Yeah, you get that pick, but... Gotta play fast once your whole team is online. Nojmeister forced it back up a little bit. Widow on the high ground. Perfy finds a pick onto Kamani.
Still inching this cart forward.
Yeah.
Inch by inch. Oh. Sort of
Chunky Monkey, a little bit in. Gets caught by Bearded Jackal. No. You know, I think that the big difference here... Oh, Kitsune Rush committed from Shiro. Looks like Chicago's just going to try and walk on Kansas City, and it looks like that's what's happening at the moment. You know, we'll find a pick on the Deathman. Nano committed onto the Kiri. Big Flux finds 3, no bubbles. That'll be another fight win for Chicago. You know, I think the big difference right now is that, I mean, Kansas City's comp really likes playing on the point. In a sense, they're winning that brawl, but they don't have any way to pressure the high ground.
Yeah, that's true. But we do see some swaps coming out. Chunky Monkey opting for the Hanzo. Kamani mirroring the Sim, and Deathman is off the Zen onto the Mercy.
As we can look here, Otto going to low ground again, trying to pressure the cart. They don't have any way to force the soldier off. They don't have any way to force that Sim or the Kiri off of the high ground. Dogemeister could just play on cart and live. Big TP up onto the, as I said, big TP up onto the high ground to force everyone off. Otto goes in, lands a grab onto the Kiri, able to find the pick. Otto with charge in the back line.
And
Well committed.
The visor from the low ground.
Both teams trade. Deathman gets the res off before getting rocked. Otto with charge in the back line, able to find 2. Last man standing is Dogemeister, not going to be able to hold. And, you know, it's funny. We were just talking about it, but that's exactly what they need to do. Force that high ground pressure, play in a position where the Sigma can't help the team, and it ends up paying out dividends.
Now because of when he swapped, Chunky Monkey does have the dragon up. Not in time for the grab, so I wonder if we'll ever get to see the grab dragon combo. If they'll ever get it synchronized.
Rocky gets picked, but gets pressed. You know, Dragon's a decently strong ult by itself. It does force a lot of pressure, force the other team to move at the minimum. No ult online for Chicago. Dogemeister alone on cart.
Sim's beam is gonna start ramping up. Yeah. Oh, actually, Chunky Monkey.
Goes the K though. Tanks are traded. Deathman looking for a res. Goes for it. Not able to get it. Chunky Monkey alone on high ground.
Trying to edge out a little more cart progress.
Last man standing. That'll be a fight for Chicago. What's interesting there is that Chicago that entire time opted to play in the low ground, and now they're trying to take the high, but they kind of gave it to Kansas City for free and it ended up working out because Kansas City overextended a little bit.
Yeah, I think sometimes when Otto has high charge, he's feeling himself just a little bit too much.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if you're up a few people, it does work, but Kamani gets picked early again with 40 seconds left. Otto poking for that grab. Gets naded. Bubble is good. In the back line is able to find Furphy. Otto with charge, beaming down the Sigma. Able to find it as the DPS from Chicago. Play that high ground. And I'm getting the value that they need to. 20 seconds left. 5 ults online for Chicago. 3 online for Kansas City. It's looking like there's going to be a TP to point. Try and get some pressure in. Both sim walls committed. Touches there. Grab Dragon is online. But he never uses it. It's a little bit late. Ults are better from Chicago. I mean, you pop all 5, you win the fight. But it's a good hold.
Score 0-2. Switching sides. Initiating match.
I mean, what did you think about how those teams played it? I thought that Chicago had a pretty good idea of how to play around those high grounds and you know send one to pressure cart.
Yeah, and I think honestly, after watching some of the Emerald League games, I think that usually seems to be like the deciding factor. Which team does, solve that riddle of how they want to contest and or control the high ground.
Yeah, I mean, like, pressuring cart is a huge part of, winning, especially, like, the tricky escort maps with a lot of the high grounds like this one. But we'll have to see how teams approach, defense differently. I think that it's easier to, like, look at things and it's always easier playing defense. Right, you get access to those high grounds way easier. You can prep yourself there before the other team even walks in. They gotta find a way to make that pressure. Sim TP at the end ended up working out. It let them pressure them a little bit, but we'll have to see how this winds up working out on defense when they're still playing the Zarya. Or something a little bit closer. No Widow from Chicago, but they do have the Ashen Soldier. Alright, get some angles here.
But see, even now, KCC...
Man gets caught. Wall to disengage, it looks like. .4v5 on point. They're trying to wait for their Mercy to get back. The Moira gets caught out a little bit onto the high ground. Otto pressuring Cart from around the corner. Not gonna work. Cart keeps moving. Mercy comes back. Chunky Monkey able to take a flank, get one, but he gets traded out. Otto pressuring Cart again. Deathman looking for a res in the back line. Rock coming in. Oh, it's huge! Alright, he's picked, and it looks like Chicago's gonna be able to keep this Cart rolling. Otto with charge, though, able to pressure out. Sigma trying to escape, but no cigar, and that's gonna be what I believe is first point for Chicago.
Chunky taking one out before they cap.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna be able to escape though.
See, I don't know, because even early on there, it seemed like KCC opted to just fight on the low ground. They didn't really play on bridge. Chunky Monkey had a couple cheeky flanks there, but he's the only one who was kind of utilizing the high ground there.
Yeah, you got to be playing for that a little bit more. Otto playing the high ground. Grab in, or Blizzard rather. Blizzard doesn't freeze anyone. Good Suzu. Flux committed. Grabs two. Deathman falling low. Oh no, they committed the ult. 3 ults committed from Chicago, and that'll be another fight win for them. This cart keeps rolling. Yeah, you're trying to play that ult advantage, and it looks like Chicago is able to do that pretty efficiently. As it looks like they're going to get through second point without that much pressure on them. Yeah, no touch.
And a very impressive time bank.
Yeah,
5 minutes.
They committed the 3 ults that they needed to. They ended up getting the picks they needed. And as a result, they're already on third point with 4 minutes and 50 seconds to go. Chicago playing those angles, trying to force out the Zarya close. Chunky Monkey on and off. Manny gets hit with a sleep dart. Grab committed. Chunky Monkey falls. Otto able to find Shiro. Otto in the back line with a coalescence. A brawl the team up close. Able to find the Ana, but he gets traded. So the ults they used. Beard Jackal still in the off angle, able to find Kamani. That's going to be the fight for Kansas City. But again, I mean, just looking at the alt banks, you committed Grav and Coalescence for that fight. Chicago's coming up on Bob, they're coming up on Nano, and they're going to have Lux and Visor again very soon. They really only got to push the cart, you know, another fight's worth.
Still a lot of time on their clock.
Yeah, Chunky Monkey playing the high ground, trying to pressure them a little bit. Coming up those stairs. Looks like Chicago's trying to make the rotation onto high. Otto, beaming cart. Visor committed. Big rock. Visor with the Kitsune rush. It's just so strong.
It's gonna be what does it in for them.
Yeah, I don't think they get another touch here. Mercy's ulting out of spawn, but I don't think.
And that's our series.
And that's gonna be our series. You know, I thought it was pretty close, all things considered.
Yeah, Yeah, no, I think it was. I think it was a good matchup. I just think the high ground here on Junker Town was kind of what did it in for KCC.
Yeah.
Only because I think their comp was kind of, or at least how they were playing, was at odds. Otto wanting to brawl on cart, I think a lot of times was getting cut off from resources, or sometimes their supports would get cut off from them. So sometimes they'd use, like, I'd see the Moira fade in to get to Otto in time, and then the Moira would just get picked from the high ground because, you know, fading into like double hit scan. And I think there was just sort of a lack of synergy between them there with that high ground discrepancy.
Mm-hmm. You know, as much as I say it, it feels like that map might have been, you know, just like a little bit of like compositional difference for Chicago. I feel like the map pool definitely, you know, Junkertown isn't necessarily considered a Zarya map. So we'll have to see if these two teams teams might play again. Thanks for tuning in, though. Hope you enjoyed watching this Emerald match, and you know, I think we only got one more week left in the season, so we'll have to see how these teams end up record-wise for postseason. We're getting around to that point.
True. We'll see you all here next week.
Yeah, thank you.